Good morning and welcome to our Zoom worship service. I am Nancy Nelson and I am the celebrant today. We have an additional announcement. Are you looking forward to seeing our new building? The Capital Campaign Committee is organizing special sneak preview tours on Sunday, April 3rd and Sunday, April 10th between 2 and 4 p.m. Tours will begin every half hour with each group limited to 10 people. Keep an eye out for the announcement and the sign-up genius. We preface our service by acknowledging that the land on which our homes and our church were built was not uninhabited when European settlers arrived here with their ideas of conquest and ownership. For those of us who live in Moscow, Pullman, or other nearby communities, we live on the ancestral homelands of the Nimipu, called the Nez Perce by the French-speaking traders, the Palouse and the Shishunk, called the Coeur d'Alene. If you are joining us from another place, I encourage you to discover who inhabited or moved through the place where you now live in the times before colonization and genocide and where they are now. We pause and remember that we live on ground that is sacred, ground that was stolen, ground that cries out for justice and for responsible stewardship. May our remembering help us find the courage to do our part to restore wholeness to the earth and all her peoples. We're also going to light a candle for Ukraine again, to acknowledge that the imperialist mindset continues to threaten people and our precious planet. May the day soon come when all people choose generosity over greed, compassion over aggression, creation over destruction. We hold in our hearts the people of Ukraine, honoring their courage and resilience, joining our spirits with theirs in solidarity. We pledge our minds, our hands, and our bodies to the cause of peace, remembering, as Lao Tzu, that peace between nations begins with peace in our hearts. Amen and blessed be. And now let us join our voices together for our words of welcome, unison chalice lighting, and sung affirmation. Welcome to you, old friends and new, young and old. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Body, mind, heart, and spirit, just as you are welcome here. We are hoping.
Stewarts. I'm Lena.
I'm Julia.
And I'm Lex.
We are hoping that everyone has a chalice or candle to light and something to light it with. Let's light our chalices together.
Hi, we're the Stewarts. I'm Lena.
I'm Julia.
And I'm Lex. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung in every land by every tongue.
Good morning, everyone. Before the pandemic, one of my very favorite traditions was the spring equinox sunrise service out at Cordelia Church. Each year, a hearty few of us would get up before the sun, bundle up, and head out to that sweet space to pause at the moment of balance and reflect on the awakening world. We'd sing along to the old pump organ and hear a few poems, and then we'd head outside to eat warm scones and hard-boiled eggs and drink coffee while light crept across the countryside. This year, the equinox falls on a Sunday, today in fact, and while I hope we'll resume our services at Cordelia next year, for now I invite all of you to imagine you're inside a building made by hand over 100 years ago with your friends and compatriots. It's cold and kind of dark in there, and we modern people feel a bit oversized for the space. I often open with these words by Reverend David Bumbaugh. The earth has gone the round of seasons, from the vibrant green of spring's new life to the lush richness of warm summer, to the brilliant fulfillment of riotous autumn, and now we stand again ensorcelled by the promise of new life in the spring. Here at this moment, when spring is more than a hope and less than a reality, at this moment, when it is an act of faith that we find a new beginning in the saffron corona of the willow, the emerald green whisper of the prairie grass and the wheat, the dawn song of unseen birds. At this moment we gather as the human clan has gathered time out of mind to celebrate new birth and renewal, the return of life from winter's death. Our opening hymn this morning is Morning Has Broken. Nancy, that's you.
Sorry. Just as we do each Sunday when we're together in person, we've set aside this time to invite you to engage in the practice of generosity. For those of you able to make a financial contribution, you'll notice there are options for managing the logistics on your screen. We invite you to either copy down the information you need or simply go to the website to make a donation. The web address is in the chat. Those of you who are newer or visiting from another part of the country may not be aware that we typically give away all of the cash from our Sunday program, Sunday offering, to local charities whose missions align with our values, a program called the Month of Sundays. This month, we're raising money for Food Not Bombs of the Palouse. They are part of an international nonviolent direct action organization that uses donated food to feed the hungry. There's more information about them in our UUCP newsletter or on their website. If you donate online, you can choose from the drop-down menu where you'd like your money to go. If you're mailing or dropping off a check, simply indicate in the memo line whether it is intended for Month of Sundays or our general fund. In the spirit of love and for the continuing work of this church, we will now take time to practice generosity together as the offertory is played.
It's one of our most treasured traditions, the sunrise service to celebrate the spring equinox, most often held out at historic Cordelia Lutheran Church. We watch our friends' headlights come down the road, one by one. Most of us arriving just as the first rays of light are breaking over the frosty Palouse hills. It's typically quite cold, so after the first year, I learned to wear extra layers, warm socks, and gloves. What goes on the altar varies from year to year. Often we have some of Margaret's beautiful Ukrainian eggs, as well as other symbols of spring, light, and warmth. Sometimes Goldie the goldfish comes to the service, or a pot of wheatgrass. We sing along to the old pump organ, our breath fogging in front of our faces. And then we head out to the picnic table for treats, fellowship, and shared appreciation of the oh so beautiful views. I love the quiet of the morning, the sun breaking across the hillside. I love that little church built by hand so many years ago, clearly scaled for smaller humans than us. Still, there's a feeling to the place. Faith is infused into the walls, and love lingers in the corners. In the silence, I invite you to imagine yourself there, in the quiet, in the cold, celebrating the miracles that abound as the earth awakes again in spring. 1. This is a video of the Green Sanctuary Committee ringing the gong exactly at solstice this morning. 1.
Let me try to tell you how I love you, more than any dream I ever dreamed, more than anything I wanted or wished in days gone by, and the clear water, stars, and the infinite sky. Tell me how my heart could ever thank you for showing it a technicolor view, for filling it with music of a lost familiar song, and giving me the chance to sing along. Every night I'd whisper to the moon, someday soon please send a love to find me. Never thought that miracles came true till you came into my life to remind me. Let me show the world how much I love you, more than any lyrics can convey. But if words are hard to find, I won't mind, for I'll have you to help me every day. Hold me as we go, for in my heart I'll know, together we will find the perfect way.
Our reading today is the poem Spring by Mary Oliver. Somewhere a black bear has just risen from sleep and is staring down the mountain. All night in the brisk and shallow restlessness of early spring, I think of her, her 4 black fists flicking the gravel, her tongue like a red fire touching the grass, the cold water. There is only one question: how to love this world. I think of her rising like a black and leafy ledge to sharpen her claws against the silence of the trees. Whatever else my life is, with its poems and its music and its cities, it is also this dazzling darkness coming down the mountain, breathing and tasting. All day I think of her, her white teeth, her wordlessness, her perfect love. Today's homily is more of a conversation, some musings, some gentle equinox-inspired reflections and wonderings. If the spirit moves, feel free to answer any of the questions via chat. Although I'm actually thinking mostly it'll be rhetorical, but you'll see. The equinox is a time of balance. The night exactly as long as the day exactly as long as the night. So we might take this opportunity to reflect on balance in our own lives. Do we have the right balance of work and play, friendship and solitude, action and reflection? What are the practices and habits that help us stay grounded and centered? And what are the practices or habits that might be pulling us out of balance? I'm reminded of the way at the beginning of yoga practice, sometimes my teachers have taught me to rock back and forth before coming to center, sometimes right to left. Sometimes we only know it's time to adjust when we are out of balance. It's easier to come back in than it is to hold. And sometimes the pendulum swings a bit before we settle in the right place for us. I'm also reminded of tightrope walkers who teach that balance isn't stasis. It's millions of micro adjustments that happen just beneath the surface of our awareness as we're moving. So what does your body have to tell you about balance? What about your heart? What about that world coming back to life that you see out your window? One of the reasons I love the sunrise service is that it happens at dawn, a time of new light. As the rays of the sun spill over the horizon, they illuminate a reality that has never existed before. And so I think it's good to use the equinox as an opportunity to reflect on new insights in our own lives. What have we learned in the past few months over the winter that changes how we see the world? What new insights are waiting to break through? What questions are within us quivering just on the edge of being asked and answered? Certainly it feels like a new stage of this pandemic is dawning. Case numbers are low, mask mandates are lifted, and we're beginning that slow process of settling into whatever the new normal is going to be. The normal where COVID is endemic and just a part of our lives in reality. Change isn't easy under the very best of circumstances. What I know about entering new territory is that for me, it's important to go slowly, one step, one breath at a time. I'm not somebody who likes to plunge in all at once, although that's a perfectly adequate strategy. I have to be exquisitely gentle with myself. Make space for all kinds of feelings: grief, anxiety, joy, uncertainty, relief, the whole gamut. Sometimes intense feelings make me a little uneasy in and of themselves. I don't like feeling out of control, and feelings are definitely in the driver's seat. But my wiser self recognizes that I'm never really in control. It's always just an illusion. For me, it helps me to remember what I can trust, the things I know in my bones. Things like life has so much sweetness to offer. People are inherently resilient, myself included. Love, gratitude, and grace make all things possible. It also helps when I remember that newness doesn't last forever, and I will eventually adapt and feel grounded again. Feeling grounded doesn't last forever either. Life has this rhythm of disorientation followed by consolidation followed by disorientation again. When I can go with the flow, make it a dance, hold life lightly, keep a strong core and soft knees, I find goodness and joy, even in the unstable times. So what do you know about change, about newness? What is dawning for you? Spring is also a time of new life, leaves and buds, chicks and calves and foals and puppies and kittens. So we might take this opportunity to reflect on the things ready to be born or coming back to life in us. Are there parts of your life that have felt stale and stagnant? What would it mean for them to start moving again, for the sap to start flowing? What are you looking forward to, especially in the warm weather? What joyful surprises are waiting for us just around the bend? After this period of time where we've been required to bear witness to so much death, it feels good and right to turn this spring toward birth, new life, life returned, vibrancy and energy and fluidity and ease. I found after 2 years of being in various states of restriction that my peopling skills are a little rusty. It feels strange to be around people again. My body doesn't quite remember what to do, and neither does my brain. It's like all the manners my mother drilled into me as a little girl got shoved in a closet, and they've just been gathering dust for 2 years. Well, it's time for some spring cleaning. Let's dust off our manners and look toward the new. New friends, new hobbies, new humans, new experiences, new life. I am desperately hungry for spring in a way I can't remember having been before. I want sun and warmth and wildflowers. I want dirt under my fingernails. I want to walk through the farmer's market. I want good weather for hiking and biking. I want heat and sweat. I want to put away my wool base layer for a while. It really has been a long, hard winter in so many ways. I also kind of want reassurance. I want someone to tell me that everything's going to be all right, but I'm not sure I believe them. Joanna Macy has said, don't believe anyone who tells you everything is going to be all right, but also don't believe anyone who tells you that all is lost. That said, spring really is coming, and it brings with it an invitation to recommit to the practice of hope. Hope isn't a feeling or a naive belief that everything will be all right, or that some supernatural power will fix the mess that we've managed to make. Hope is a choice to live and move in a way that is consistent with our values and our dreams for the future. So let's finish by reflecting for a moment on our deepest hopes. What goodness does life have in store for us as individuals, as a community, as a planet? And then what goodness do we have to offer in service to life in return? I choose to believe that this pandemic has broken things open and shaken things up so that together we can find our way to a more sustainable way of being. Personally, I feel like in the last 2 years I've learned to slow down a little bit, to rest when I'm tired or not feeling well, to stop the constant frenetic doing, to spend time still, to remember that I am a human being and not a human doing. As a community, I choose to believe that we're embracing a deeper resilience that grows out of our capacity to be vulnerable with one another, open and honest about our own needs, compassionate and generous in response to the needs of others. I think we're ready to shift the culture collectively from one that glorifies more, bigger, and better to one that embraces an ethos of simplicity and community care. As for this poor, beleaguered planet, I'm heartened by all the ways people have come together across difference to address suffering. We've collectively made progress, I think, when it comes to caring about important stuff, the environment, systemic racism, each other. And yes, I know there's still some people who are insisting on division and burying their heads in the sand rather than acknowledging the challenges we're facing or in looking for compromise. And that would probably be all of us some of the time and some of us all of the time. However, in spring is a time of change, transformation, renewal, and revolution. In spring, on this equinox, I'm choosing to trust in the progress I'm seeing rather than lamenting that it might be too little, too late. Because spring is also a time of mud. Lots of mud. Which reminds us that life is and always has been complicated and messy. And in the end, we wouldn't want it any other way. So be it. Blessed be, and happy spring. Let's sing together again. This is for the earth forever turning.
For the earth forever turning, for the skies for every sea, for our lives, for all we cherish, sing we our joyful song of peace. For the mountains, hills, and pastures in their silent majesty, for the stars, for all the heavens, sing we our joyful song of peace. For the sun, for rain and thunder, for the seasons harmony, for our lives, for all creation, sing we our joyful praise to thee. For the world we raise our voices, for the home that gives us birth. In our joy we sing, returning home to our blue-green hills of earth.
Our closing words are from Langston Hughes, his poem, In Time of Silver Rain. In time of silver rain, the earth puts forth new life again. Green grasses grow and flowers lift their heads. And all over the plain, the wonder spreads of life, of life, of life. In time of silver rain, the butterflies lift silken wings to catch a rainbow cry. And trees put forth new leaves to sing in joy beneath the sky, when spring and life are new.
Please say with me the words to embody our chalice flames. We extinguish this chalice that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light our paths as we leave this place. May it guide our way until we are together again. Dear ones, whatever gifts this spring equinox holds in store, may you find them, like Easter eggs scattered throughout your life. May you open them and embrace them. May your heart welcome spring. May your spirit soar. It's good to see you all. Sending much love. Those of you who'd like to stick around for coffee hour, stay in the room and we'll put you in breakout rooms in just a moment. And those of you who are ready to go, go in peace. We'll see you next week.